We are live with Lily Rose Walker. So that's your full name. Because names matters also. That's what I'm gonna bring up after. So that's why I say Lily Rose Walker. Greetings. It's an honor again, Lily, to have you on the TruMon show. We have connected before. We're permanently connected on the super soul level, like I was telling you. So for us, doing this is just very natural. We come here free flow. We haven't scripted anything. I want Lily to just go with her heart and soul and body and the whole thing, and to really explore with us what's up there, because we're going to talk about astrology, tarot, esoteric, all kinds of stuff. Maybe not all today, because there's a lot to uncover. Yeah, not discover, but uncover, because it's just been, I think, you have put a lid on all the knowledge. It's us personally, we put a lid on the knowledge, and I think we kind of put that aside for other pursuits in life, which are often very not supportive of an evolution. That's what I want to say. I don't want to go too far into what we do in everyday life, but I think the purpose to be on Earth is to evolve. If not, why are we here? Like, it's to evolve, definitely. It's to learn, it's to explore, it's to connect with others. We can live in love, harmony, and positivity, and all this is possible because that's what, if you have a heart full of love, then that's what you should give. Or are we not have a heart full of love, all of us? Yes. It's just sometimes we put cover on it and stuff. So we're gonna try to uncover this today with Lily, go a bit deeper into the signification. I don't want to use the word meaning, but signification, because signs, it's astrological sign. So it has a signification. And Lily, I would like you to start. We say as above, so below. So nothing is random on Earth. I don't think even the blade of grass growing is random. You came here on Earth for a purpose, Lily. I came here. Now we just tend at one point to put camouflage that purpose for something else, but there's definitely a purpose to everything. So there is a purpose to the stars in the sky, and if you and it's hard. Now I'm gonna expose. Do you put my thoughts out, and after I'm gonna let you go, Lily? But it's important that just for you to see where I want to go with this,
Yeah.
and I don't want to take it too far because I don't think we're at that level collectively yet. But we are barely have intuition when it comes to the stars. So I think we have to develop that intuition by learning what is up there and what's the purpose of this and how it relates to the affairs on Earth. You are not who you are for no reason, Lily. You are not doing what you do for no reason. I know for a fact that we are light beings. We can be on the side of light and let go of the dark. That's definitely possible. And if we put enough effort on what matters in life, like truth, reality, and stuff that inspires us to keep us alive, not living a dead life, well, we can also connect with what's above and develop a greater sense of intuition. So I'm going to leave it like that. Now, Lily, give me your because you have done a lot of studies too. You have a huge background in esoteric and astrological studies and all kinds of stuff. And sometimes even the stuff you talk about, I get lost. Like I read your stuff online and stuff, but it's so far from my scope because I haven't done the studies that you have done. But I would like you to like compress all those studies you have done and bring that up for us on the golden plate because it's all about the golden ratio, so the golden plate, and really for us to learn about astrology, when the intuition and word and that talk is certainly not for I use compassion here muggles that are permanently watching TV and that's their life. Like we're not talking about that. And even esoteric, if you look at the definition of esoteric, it's for certain uh, amount of people. Like, it's studies vary. I don't remember really the definition, but maybe Lily can expand on it. But it's special studies that you can share only with certain people too. Because you gotta feel that stuff. What I'm saying about, I'm going long again.
It's
I'm
okay.
tired, so I'm going, but I will leave you talk for sure. I'm just very animated and excited about our talk. That's why I go on like this. But yeah, it's a very intuitive thing, and you feel that stuff. So Lily, talk to us. Let us know more about your knowledge and how all this applies to our everyday life and how you see it. Because I want to know from your perspective. That's the reason why you're here, to have your perspective on the whole thing. It's very important to have different perspectives. So today I want yours.
Yes, of course. Well, thank you, Jean-Nic, for having me here today. I'm so happy to have this reunion. I remember, I guess it's been almost a decade ago now that
Yeah.
you, I, Santos, and Mehmet met on this channel, and kind of got, and Rob, and got, kicked off on our friendship, and kind of gathering a group of people into this, that were students of Santos Bonacci in the Universal Truth School. And I will say that, Santos has taught me foundational amounts of information, or at least help me to remember or recall things that I had learned in a past life. So because in my I was at a certain point, I've had a significant amount of suffering in my life, I'll be honest, and I'm grateful for that, because it's kept me on task. But it's at a certain point I was told, or that my angels had to tell me what my past life was to help me understand why my suffering was so intense, because I was really starting to get nihilistic, which means that you start to believe that everything's meaningless, and get extremely depressed. And it's like, in the Buddhist path we say, not
Yeah.
eternalism and not nihilism, right? Like, I'm not
Yeah.
a this identity is not permanent. I don't think I'm going to be Lily Walker forever. But also, it's not meaningless to be Lily. And so, anyway, so I remembered my past life at a certain point. Yeah, so so I do know that I had studied this stuff in the past, right? I've come up with information to like track who my teachers were in the past and stuff. But Santos has been a foundational teacher to me in this lifetime, as well as a few others. I'm very grateful for my
Yeah.
teachers, and I test them. That's another thing. You should always test your teachers. Do not just accept knowledge. You need to make sure that this person is connected with you and has a pure heart when you're accepting information from them. Anyway, I think that we're talking about astrology, and we're talking about as above, so below. That was kind of the lead in. And it's my understanding that at a certain point in our, you said, why do we come here? And it's my belief that we come in a successive series of lives to actualize our soul potential, to actualize our inherent, like, Buddha nature, and
Yeah.
to be able to eventually wring that out very true and pure. But it takes a really long time. And as we progress through lifetimes, often we make choices and do things and create karma that set us further back, you know. And so it is very important for us to study and to pay attention to the things that are that, and not get just completely distracted by materialist pursuits. But at the same time, living life is very important. Like, we're not supposed to just sit in our rooms and
Yeah.
not engage in the heart love with our friends and go out there in the world. So, you just
Exactly.
have to be careful, right? So it's my understanding that at a certain point on the path, we begin to interiorize the cosmos. We begin to understand that the cosmos are actually within us, and that everything that we're actually seeing arise is actually us and our own process, right? So it is as above, so below, because there's a correspondence between our physical body and our internal process and our soul on the inside, like our 3 layers in and our 3 layers out. So what we're watching arise in symbols via the stars or via synchronicity, via song lyrics. Like I get, I hate it when my camera does that. But it makes sense because I would like, that was very, you could feel that, right? Like, you know, the song lyrics, you know, we watch these things arise, and that these are part of our internal process that are helping us to come into proportions of like Fibonacci perfection or artistic, that are our unique note to ring out pure into the universe, you know, because we came to bring a gift of our light. And it's my understanding that there's no science that's more efficient at helping us track what's going on and come into alignment with what, you know, what we need to do. Because obviously if we were perfect, it would already be showing up perfect, right? So obviously we're wrong in a number of different ways, right?
Yeah.
So there's no, in my understanding, there's no better way than astrology to no more rarefied or cleaner science for doing this than astrology, to understand how to come into alignment and learn these lessons so that we can eventually it's called there are different words for this. It was in Egyptian culture, it was in Neoplatonic culture, it's big in Buddhism. Like every esoteric path has this version where suddenly spontaneous liberation happens and you see it as the pure realm that it actually is. So that's what we're trying to do. And then once we do it, we're trying to help everyone else do it too, because there's no need to suffer in this world, right? It's our attachment that makes us suffer.
Yeah. And another question that I have, for sure, we're in a change of ages. There's drastic change happening on Earth because I feel it within myself. You feel it within yourself. And now you can see the world for what it is. You know, we always seen the world as we are in our depressed state and very like envious and jealous and stuff. But once you start embracing the light, there's a different thing happening. And now we're in that age of Aquarius and stuff that they say. But how do they come to know all this? Like, where does that knowledge come from? And even like, is there someone that it's very possible that everything's possible, I think, but did someone in the past or as ability maybe to talk to the stars? Maybe we talk, maybe with our thoughts. You know, I'm going deep, but that's what I do all the time. But is there an ability in us to communicate with the cosmos? Sometimes I think so. Sometimes, and it gives you feeling. Am I wrong by saying, because the other day I was on a bike path and the moon was very big in front of me and there was a star very shiny beside it, and I was like, wow, wow, wow. I was alone on the bike path biking my bike and I kept saying, wow, wow, wow. And I relate that story, and I was the feeling was so intense. And I think that day the stars were, or the moon or something was talking to me from up above. And but that's a feeling of bliss, a feeling of intense joy, Lily. I was so and I think you become at that point like that. And I think that's how you can read all that stuff. And sometimes you talk about a retrograde and all that stuff and all the astrology chart. And me, I'm all lost and all this, honestly. But I think there's a way we can, and like you said, we have to study it because it will show us probably also the path that we should take on Earth. Don't you think?
I think it helps. And I think we can definitely see our call or our destiny in our charts and what like our soul call was. We can get a lot of information about our imprint. You mentioned, being on the bike path and the moon, and I don't know what phase the moon was in, but that was a planet that you saw. So if it's a big shiny star, that's a planet. So it was either Venus maybe or Jupiter. Like right now you'll see this full moon's coming, and you'll probably see Jupiter, because Jupiter's in Gemini and the moon will be in Cancer, just, very close to it. And so if you see a big shiny planet near this full moon, it's going to be Jupiter. And we know that, not only do we have a Jupiter in us and in our code, that's our Jupiter, but that's Jove, that's Jesus, that's like, so it could be the sun for Jesus too. I think of Jesus as the sun a lot, but regardless, that's a God. And as the Buddhists say frequently, the guides who constantly reach out to guide and befriend us, like the masters are there for us and they want to help us because we're suffering. And they hate watching us suffer. Although I think sometimes there's that word bemused, because I think sometimes they laugh at us, because we're funny, especially in our romantic situations, I'm like, oh my gosh, I am so bemused. And this soap opera is, the gods are loving this like love drama soap opera, right? Especially those sorts of things. But that is trying to reach out to you. But I don't think you necessarily have to know astrology. I think song lyrics can be just as powerful. Tarot cards. Astrology as divination is really technical science, and it's very keyed in. Yeah. It's a very fine sieve. And I think it's a language, and I really do encourage everyone to learn it. But at the same time, I'm sure you could have gotten whatever message that was from Jove in your earphones that you were listening to at the time, and that feeling that arose. And that's exactly what the astrology would have said. You know what I mean? And that's the mind-blowing part, because it's the confirmation. Like, you get the feeling, you get the message, and then you look at the chart and you're like, oh my God, it's the science says exactly the same thing,
It's overwhelming, Lily. It's overwhelming. I was even, I think, crying that day of joy. Like, it's so overwhelming. And because I know I'm doing the right thing, I'm about truth, reality, facts, and stuff. I'm done with the lies, and that's the path I'm taking. But I think also, what about like numbers reappearing or stars like that reappearing? Like the other day, I had Orion here right in front of my house. I was like, wow, it's shining bright. Like, but I'm noticing it now. Before, I would have never say, oh, hey, the belt of Orion and this and that and Betelgeuse. And like today, I'm kind of attracted to what's going on above, because I think it has a direct effect, first of all, on your personality. Why people are stuntmen and I'm not? Why I don't do stunt? But some people do it at ease. People bungee jumping, airplane, whatever they do. Some are doctors, some are writers, some are speakers, but that's not random, Lily. I don't think so. So what do you think about that? That our personalities are directly correlating with where we come from, our natal chart and stuff. That's deep, but yeah.
Absolutely. So Plato talks about this quite extensively. The early Neoplatonists, and even before Plato, like Plato's teachers, like Empedocles and Pythagoras and these guys, the pre Neoplatonism is a word that came up even way past Plato, right? So I sort of generalize these things because, as you mentioned, like I sort of talk from a very intellectual point of view. And I'm just going to be honest, I have Asperger's on top of that. And you'll see people like me, like we just get way out there. Like our brains are really good, but then it'll be too complex sometimes. So, I generalize, I try to speak to like a popular culture when it comes to these names and things. But, they'll tell us that Plato tells the story about the lots, right? He tells, there's a story, where this character, I can't remember his name at the moment. I'm sorry, I'm on the spot. I told it in this book that zine that I wrote, but he's a soldier, and he's not dead. But he's taken to the other side to see what happens. And he travels over there and he watches what happens. And it's this story about what happens on the other side of creation. And it talks about how the souls travel either to the underworld to experience certain purification with regard to our suffering and to our bad karma. like sort of the ghosts of Christmas past, right? To be shown, you know, you did these bad things. Look how you hurt people, you know. So, and then others are taken to, you know, to see good memories and stuff. But anyway, it all converges right here at this lot, at this like gathering spot. And the fates are passing out the new lots. So like the idea is that we actually get a lot, and that lot is our birth chart. Okay. And then we're going to come down through the rings of heaven, you know, and like Jupiter is going to be in this spot and Venus is going to be in this spot. And as you're coming through the kosas, or the 7 levels of the 7 heavens, that's like crystallizing in your code. You know, so yes, it's in our lot, you know, but also we get our daemon, and the daemon is like the spiritual guide. And I bet you, you know, the daemon is what you're feeling when you feel those feelings, and you can hear it in your ear, and you're like, that's your daemon talking. And so the daemon is part of the soul, and it's like it's our guide to help us find our true light, right? It's like the intercessor between us and like the spiritual sun, right? Like our heart is the sun, but then there's a
daemon, Daimon,
Daimon, daemon.
So it's very close to demon.
It's very close to demon.
Demon is an anagram for monde en français, which is the world.
Yeah,
so,
and
keep going.
Yeah. So, and in my understanding, you know, there's, and this is very Neoplatonic, there is like, and also Sufis and Jewish mysticism, you know, all of these different traditions that are like based on Neoplatonism, right, in the different religions. And there's this idea that there's a hearth that Hecate is the guard of, or the dark liminal goddess. And that but that on the other side, and that there's this hearth, right, and this go this way, and you go into reality, right, and the waking consciousness that we see being, you know, we're in bodies. But on the other side of this is the imaginal realm of the creative imagination, and that in this realm there are numerous guides trying to help us, but the foundational guide for each of us has a daemon. It's like Kit in the Knight Rider movie, you know, Knight Rider in your car, and he talks to you. It's like we each have a kit, and we get to choose that daemon, and they're planetary. So like my daemon's from Mercury. I have a Mercury daemon, and so but it's not just Mercury, because a lot of people have a Mercury daemon, you know, but they hail from the planet of Mercury, and my daemon is very mercurial, and I can tell this in people's charts. Like I can tell you what your daemon is. It's a very old astrological trick. It's supposed to be one of the hardest ones in the book, but if you look at the whole chart, it's really not that hard. And this is something I learned from my teacher, Joseph Crane, at Kepler Institute College. It's an astrology college. And Joseph Crane is amazing. He's a Buddhist as well. And he and I hit it off really well, but he taught me this. And so, yeah, like I mean, this goes all the way back to Plato. And you were saying, how do we know this stuff? How do we know about the precession of the equinox, for example?
All of this up there.
And
Did someone talk to the stars?
How do we know this? Well, we know because we were told. We were told by spirits. And so, like, I know it sounds crazy, but there are stories.
No. It doesn't sound crazy to me at all.
Going back to Mesopotamia, you know, that's the oldest stories we have on record are the clay tablets that were from Mesopotamia. And there are stories in there about how we know this stuff. Okay. And I could tell you, I mean, this story is really long and involved, but just basically there were beings, Naga beings that were like half fish, half human, that after the fall, which is, you know, Atlantis fell, you know, and we lost consciousness when that happened, and we forgot lots of things. But these fish gods would come through the water to talk to good kings. Like they didn't talk to materialist jerkheads. Okay. They talked to like people like you and I, but who had power were the royals. And Mesopotamia was the first place that they started having like kingdoms, right? Like the kingdom of like Gilgamesh, that story of Gilgamesh, you know, it'll tell, like when you teach your kids history, it's like, oh, these were the first kingdoms. you know. And so like the good kings, these fish gods would come and talk to these good kings and tell them information. One of those things being the precession of the equinox, because how TF did we know that? It's
Yeah.
extremely difficult mathematics. Although the Babylonians had star temples where they kept tons of records and they were watching these things. So they could have figured it out. But at the same time, the story goes that there's a man named Oannes that was a fish god that came to tell the last good king. And then what happened was there started being a bad king. His name was Naram Sin. And he and his sister were supposed to inherit the throne. But he was the first one to say, I'm the king of the world. I'm the only king. And he kicked his sister out of the temple. She was the temple goddess that received and divulged the mysteries that were supposed to help him guide, help him rule. He kicked her out and just started being king himself. And that's where we start to see the disrespect of the goddess, the disrespect of the mysteries, and like the colonial. That sounds a little political when I say colonial. I don't mean it like that, but just like the culture that just goes and takes over and is more materialist and just brute force. And also this relates to precession of the equinox, because the understanding is that we had to go far out, like get into brute materialism and also scientific perspective that just looking like doesn't even believe in spirit anymore in order to go back in. It's like we had to go fully out and then we're go fully back in. It's like a 7 course in, 7 course out. So it's good for humanity, but we have lots of suffering here on
Makes
this
sense.
level.
I heard that Eckhart Tolle said before you start evolving, you have to regress. In every process, and it makes sense also. But so they say often also, Lily, you're talking about this story that this knowledge is very ancient knowledge, and you talk about events that might have led to that knowledge being delivered to humans on Earth, the worthy one. I'll call them the worthy one. But my point is, how to know that history is exactly to look up at the stars, because we can predict so much stuff that's going to happen up there, like thousands years in advance, probably, and I don't know, 1,000,000 years behind. So you want to know about history, look at the stars and read the stars. Do not read books about Babylonian history. Read
Right.
the stars, and that's what I feel. I don't know if I'm wrong. Tell me if I'm wrong on that.
No, you're absolutely right. There's this really brilliant man named Richard Tarnas, and he teaches at a college, or did teach at a college called California Institute of Integral Studies. And he wrote this book called Cosmos and Psyche, where he went through and tracked outer planet transits in history. Like he was the first one to publish like a really, wow, brilliant book on
Wow.
this. And he got a lot of acclaim. But we all knew 2020 was coming because he had published this book 10 or 15 years before. So if you go to my channel in early 2020, I'm like saying everything that's about to happen, and I knew because I read a book that tracked the site. I'm not brilliant, this is out there, and so yes, and I think there's a documentary out there on YouTube now called Changing of the Gods or something that's about his work. So you don't have to read the whole book, because he is also, I'm sorry if I'm saying this and he doesn't know this, but I think he also has Asperger's. And so he goes real deep, and it's difficult reading, but it's fantastically interesting. So yes, we can track cycles and we know what's coming, which is why, we knew 2020 was coming before it happened. Which is why we know lots of things, put it that way. I don't want to get into, then when you say 2020,
No.
you start to get into politics. And so I don't want to do that. I don't want to alienate anyone.
And the purpose is exactly for us to feel it. So if I want to feel it, I have to look at it. I have to study it. I have to introspect on it, and only me can do that work. Even if you spit all the knowledge in the world here today, I have to feel it. Now, this world wants us to focus on singularity, like religions. Only one day you worship and the rest, forget about it. Go back to your muggle life. I think it's every day there's a grand happening. You're alive. You're here on earth. So every day should be worship as the most grandiose day in your life. But also, you were talking about, and that singularity that they want us to focus in is exactly also about God. Because I didn't say gods here, I said God. So they want us to focus on one God above. When Lily, I think there is many. Share with me.
Absolutely. And you're a god and I'm a god, and we all have Buddha nature. So we're all gods, and we just haven't actualized our Buddha nature yet. But inside of each of us is a Buddha. And that's from a Buddhist perspective, but all of the esoteric religions believe this. Now there came a time, of course, in Rome, Pax Romana, where they began to capitalize on the idea of controlling people by way of controlling religion. And then it got really intense also in during like Louis of France, the Sun King, then again, because they were losing control, the kings were losing control, they had a French Revolution after that.
Yeah.
But like and that's when they changed to a heliocentric model, which is really interesting. And I'm not going to get into all the flat earth stuff, which but I could go there. And I'm real close to Santos on that, but maybe not exactly his twin. But so yes, they try to control us through religion. Now there's this man named Fyodor Dostoevsky. He's a Russian writer from a long time ago, 1500s. He wrote this amazing book called The Brothers Karamazov, and in that book he has this section, and it's so famous. I'm going to cry like even saying it. Like, it's so famous to religious studies students because it just is absolutely the crux of the matter. And it's called the speech of the Grand Inquisitor. And so the Grand Inquisitor was the one, like, during that 1500s kind of period where they started saying Sun King, this sort of thing, that they would torture people if they wouldn't convert to Christianity, or if they wouldn't like get in line. Right. And they tortured tons of pagans, and the Grand Inquisitor's argument, though, is that people want to be controlled because it's too much work to live with the paradox of unknowing and the responsibility of becoming a god yourself. And that there's scads and the lion's share of people don't want to do this work. They want to be told they're okay. They can buy an indulgence. Everything's going to be fine. Just do this and this and you'll be fine. When the truth of the matter is, like, the Neoplatonic path, it's hard as fuck. Like, I'm sorry to cuss. Am I allowed to say that? I'm sorry, but that it deserves it. Like, it is so hard, and like to like encounter your suffering and your karma ripening from past lives, while in the meantime, you're doing your very best to be full sunshine and light, but like, or your dog's dying, or something that you just can't control because we're in an impermanent realm, but yet we have to keep going. It's really hard. And so the argument is that some people actually want a god. And I do kind of think that's true, unfortunately. Some people aren't ready. It's successive levels. We're climbing a staircase, lifetime after lifetime. And unfortunately, as we do things that take us further away, that truly compromises the mean of our soul, our vibration. And when we're reborn further out. So it's a real struggle,
And just you talk about gods and stuff. Santos I fished into his stuff and I found something about Christ consciousness, with it's like, to me, the ultimate thing with human, and that's what we avoid. We avoid this, and it's very easy to see that we are built for that greatness. Come on, we have a heart full of love. It's very easy to express the love once you let go of the fear. Also, and me, I'm here. It's all love. All I do here is love, love, love for humanity. I want humanity to evolve. I'm not here to make anyone regress and perish and stuff. It's about evolution. So once you have that at the center of your heart, it's easier to live your life and to make that oil he's talking about ascend. And now I'm telling you, this is where also it gets very overwhelming, because now the blessings are gonna rain like shower on you, and that is overwhelming because you connect me. I can count my blessing here today. The list goes on. It's crazy, but that's what also the universe, I think, come and respond to your vibration, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think you say the love in your heart, like that's called hima, the power of the heat in the blood
Oh,
that
yeah.
actually produces it. Not only like creates the hologram that we see, but it substantiates the world. Like it creates substance, that power in the heart. It's called hema. And this is from Henry Corbin, who's like an amazing, amazing writer and thinker. And he's was a student of Avicenna, who is a Muslim mystic or a Sufi mystic, really old time ago. Again, Neoplatonist thinkers. And there's this power of hema in the heart, and it actually essentiates the world of being. Like it actually creates that love power. And the power of fear creates aberrations, and so many times our fears are created are about attachment, right?
Yeah.
We are attached. We do not want to let go. When something arises that we like, we want it to stay there forever, just like that. But it's a sandcastle, and so yeah, it's going to fall away. So we have to really learn how to be non-attached, so that we can fly free in those stars,
Oh,
and like with the potential
yeah.
just through the universe,
Yeah.
meeting with different partners, creating beautiful things, and these sorts of things, in the universe. Our friends, it's really about friends. The connection between Vajra siblings is what my teacher Lama Tsultrim has taught me to call it. But it's like the students and friends on the path, like you, me, Rob,
Yeah.
Mamet, Santos. Like
You
these
know,
people are so important in your life, like it's so important. So
Santos often talk about the 144,000 and stuff like that, like the chakra petals and all that, summing to like 144,000. But I think maybe that's the network we are creating also, like as above, so below, as within, so without. So we are creating a network of people all working in the same direction. Like I say it all the time. It's not about me here. It's about the message. It's not even me. I don't even think I'm here. I'm delivering a message, but it's not about the messenger. It's the message. Whoever gives it, my voice will reach a certain amount of people. Your voice, Eddie, will reach others. That's how we network, and that's why also I think internet came in this world. It's such a beautiful, beautiful thing. What do you think about now? What is the network up there? Does the star, because I know they network together. Come on, they're lined up in dots and line, and sometime behind the moon, below the moon, it doesn't move. Like so often, I will see Venus right below the moon, and what does that signify, Lily? I'm just talking about it. It's overwhelming because I'm so in admiration at the sky. It's so big. It's so big. Just Earth is so big. Just the world is so big. I sometimes I feel like not. I don't feel small. I can't say that. But Lily, it's easy to feel small.
yeah,
That's what I'm
but we're
saying.
not. It's true. It's what we're not. My son is so smart. My little boy Elijah, he's 18 now, and he's like, "Yeah, mom. I mean, a lot of people are just like play like video. I'm in a video game, and a lot of the people aren't even real, right? Only maybe 144,000 are real of your best friends. I mean, who knows? I don't know. That made me think of that.
Yeah.
Yeah. But the other thing I was thinking is that you can pray to these stars. You can pray and do the astrologers do classical astrologers do lots of magic with the stars. Now,
That's what I'm talking about. The magic. How because I'm going off again.
but like Orion, for example, Orion was Artemis's best friend, and he Orion was a Titan, not an Olympian. And but Orion will help you move things in the physical realm. Like if you need a good old boy to help you get in there to like get a contract signed or this or that. I mean,
That's so
that's
big.
the basic, but like Orion will help you with that. Orion is a good old boy, and he knows everybody and can get you in that back door. Like things like this. So you pray to these gods to help you. They are your friends as well. And
Oh yeah.
probably there's this new current, and I'm not 100% familiar with it, but I have met some people that are practicing something called Hellenistic polytheism, I believe. And it's like this idea that each of us sort of has an archetype in one of these stars. Like,
Wow.
so like maybe
Uh,
I'm a Persephone, or maybe, because I practice a trauma practice, which is about like, or maybe I'm Hecate, right? Like maybe I'm the dark goddess. Maybe that's my archetype. But maybe you are Apollo, because you like music a lot, and
oh
you
yeah,
have the
yeah.
rainbow of
Into
music,
music.
so maybe you're an Apollo, so that each of us, we can, the friends show up too, but we can definitely pray to these stars, and there are certain times of the day. And when there are like 13 magical stars called the Bohemian stars, and we use those in magic. And so when those are like prominent, people make talismans and things. Like I don't know if you guys can see, I have this talisman
Ye-
here that
Yeah.
my friend, like I'm the bluefish, right? That's my business.
Oh, I
And
love it.
that came to
I
me.
love it. When I saw blue fish astrology, I'm like, oh, that's so nice. That's so Lily. It's so you. Lah.
I'm very
Yeah.
Pisces in my big old bluefish glasses.
Yeah.
But my friend Gary Caton is an astrologer, and like, many years ago, he made me that talisman. And it was to Formahalt, who is a fish star and a watcher of the South. He's the watcher of the South, Formahalt. And he had me go outside. He did this whole magical thing and sent it to me to my house, and then had me go outside and do a ritual to Formahalt, and then sent me the talisman as the, commemoration of it. And so there's magic in that talisman. And then years later, I named my business Bluefish without even remembering that. I got to be honest, I didn't remember it in the moment. And then like 2 weeks later, I was like, oh my gosh, Gary, you named that business, So, so these things like, and also if we believe in the magic and power of our friends, that magic's real.
Oh, it is real. Oh yeah.
Gary's my friend. I could be like, oh, Gary, you sent me that talisman. You just think you're magic, But it really, when we sink down and we believe with each other, it's so real, You got to love your friends,
Yeah.
for real, and believe in them, because that's where the magic really happens.
And you were talking about rituals, how to pray to the stars or ask them for uh, help, or I don't know if it's help. The word, there's the word L in there. I don't know if it's help. Anyway, when you ask for corresponding energy, or whatever, I don't know. When you pray to the stars, also rituals. You were talking about rituals, but ritual does matter. That's the thing. It does matter, because why would the Babylonians do rituals, satanic rituals, if it doesn't matter? Okay, I'm just saying, and look at the world we live in today. Barbarian, demonic, fucking nonsense all over. I'm not inventing that stuff. Maybe you haven't go out in the world to realize it, or you're blind. But there is a barbarian, demonic, fucking nonsense happening out there. So I think the rituals, when they are reversed in the proper manner to create magic in your life, and I'm not talking about black magic, that's the Babylonian. We're talking about maybe white magic. Well, I don't know if it has a color. Rainbow magic. Let's call it rainbow magic, because it has all the colors and the 7 colors of the rainbows and the 7 gods above and blah, blah. So I think that's very, very important to turn to this kind of energy if you want guidance. Like, and of course, they will guide. Why would they say, if you're lost at sea, let the stars guide you? That's another thing. You're lost at sea. You look up to the stars and they will carry you home. So the same is good for our heart. If I'm start to look up at the stars, and they will carry me home in my heart. Like, I'm already in the heart. Don't live in the head too much. I'm not in fear of Like other than a big black bear coming after me, but other than that, there's nothing to fear but fear itself. So I'm totally navigating this plane on a high frequency, and I think there is possibility once you start reaching that high frequency that you can boop, bring it up there and have that
Well,
same energy corresponding.
aren't we the counterforce of the Babylon, the people making the gross magic? Because of course they know. That's how they even know how to pick their reincarnation. Because I know they know that, because the Tibetans know that. They know where the next where the
What are you saying?
Yeah, like
What are you at that? Whoa. You're saying that
they can
I
reincarnate into that
never thought
bloodline
of
with
this.
that inheritance, with that power. They know what to do. These people, they know astrology. They took this information from the people, but they didn't stop using it. So occultism in politics is that Santos talks about it a lot, but even my like professor teachers, and not from school, like just friends that I've made that are professors at certain colleges and etc. Like Gary Lockman wrote a book called The Occult in Politics. And I mean, I'm not sure that he and I are perfectly aligned on our political stance, but nonetheless, everything he wrote is 100% true, right? Like there's a cult. These guys know. They know what they're doing, and they spin propaganda out at opportune moments in order to get the consciousness of the people. But we are the counter magicians. We are the counter force to that. So every morning I wake up and before dawn, and I do my practice. I'm a Tibetan Buddhist, and so the practices that I do are magic rituals. They are absolutely magic rituals. Now, I'm sorry to admit that to people if I'm not supposed to say that out loud, but 100%.
Go.
I'm calling the four corners. I'm using the colors. I'm using magical names. I'm doing hand mudras that relate to the different colors in the sun and the moon. I'm calling my power. I'm standing at that hearth. I'm calling in protectors, And then I'm also doing this thing, though, where I'm trying to get out of my own way so that I can pull in more of the God energy, not the Lily. Because Lily would probably make some weird stuff, like, and it wouldn't be of benefit for beings. God, like I'm short-sighted. So like I'm trying to get rid of my ego so I can bring in more and more of the God energy and use it to help the people in my mandala. So there's a mandala around me that's my power center. It's my field. And often I find myself, so I bet other people do this too, trying to correct other people's mandalas, like being like, no, y'all are doing that wrong, but we cannot correct other people's mandalas. We can only work with our own mandala. And it's like this pool, and like strange little birds come to visit my mandala, it's true. But I'm trying, and I'm not very powerful yet. My teacher, Lama Tsultrim, man, that woman, you should see her. She could, I believe 100% she could call down lightning. Rigpa Dorje made it rain. The Karmapa made it rain in Arizona in the 70s when the Hopi prophecy got fulfilled. My friend Gregory Shaw was there and saw it happen. Like these things happen, and we are magicians. That's the point. So we need to learn so that the 144,000, so that we can bring the heart light and get rid of these jerkwads. Yes, they know how to reincarnate because the Tibetans know. You ask them when a Tibetan Lama is about to die, they'll tell you where they're going to reincarnate. So if they know, the jerkwads know, like the Tibetans are like doing it right. Not all of them. That's a king system too, though. Those Tibetans. But a lot, like just I'm not going to whatever. That's my lineage. I'm not dissing it at this point. I'm just saying there are some shades.
But I think in everything there is shades and everything. You gotta look for the deeper signification of the whole Tibetan Buddhist thing. I think you gotta go back also in history to have a greater perspective on what you practice, because today everything's inverted. So for sure. No, I don't doubt that there's good in there.
Yeah,
Uh,
absolutely. But I think that we can create benefit. It's easier to create benefit for someone else than it is for yourself. You know, you got a friend who's sad and suffering, you know, having a hard time. You get up in the morning and you do your magical practice and you send that heart light energy to that friend. You will change their life that day.
Lily,
You
you
will.
have a gift for that. Is your gift for you or for others? It's for others. Does the apple tree eat apple? No, the fruit is for the people that pass by. So your gift is not for you, it's for others. That's why
Yeah.
I'm here. If I listen to myself, I probably won't be here. But I know I have a gift, I have something to share. That's what I'm sharing with the world. But that's where we gotta bring our spirit also to sharing and giving, and it's uplifting each other.
Yeah.
It's easy to look at yourself and get a bit depressed and look at the world and stuff, but I think we are moving to a different era. Definitely, there's knowledge being spread now. The names, okay, then our names, like I was saying before, our names, your name, the name of the stars. Now, do you go when you talk about the stars? Do you go with the English name? Like, do you because the names, the words carry a resonance, no matter what, no matter what you speak it, it carries a frequency. So, are you using different words than Jupiter, Venus, Uranus, and stuff like that to call the stars, or you go into a more elaborate vocabulary describing those celestial bodies? Because if I go with what they taught me, it doesn't really make sense to call a planet up there Uranus. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe you can tell me what's the purpose of that name, honestly. But I know we're getting all the time, but we don't need to. But usually they put it in our face. So is that the purpose of it? What's the real names of the seven celestial, the Seven Up? Like they even put it on the Seven Up bottle. Like what's the like? You think you're drinking the light, drinking Seven Up, 39 grams of sugar in a bottle? Okay, anyway, we won't go there. But the names,
You
the
guys
names,
like there's a selection like an enclave of Santos's students that are really much better at etymology than I am. I'm not a language although I am a language person because I'm a Mercury daemon. I'm not that good at it yet like you guys are. Some people are way better at this than me, but I agree with you. And Rudolf Steiner talks about how English is a dead language, and that like the like there's power in certain letters. It's the letters, right? And so every morning three times I purify the letters, yes, in my practice. But when I call the planets, I just call them regular names
okay.
because I'm still a bit of a muggle on that. You know, I got to admit, I'm not that great with that. But I think a lot of it's your sentiment and your heart. So true, even in my Tibetan practice. Whereas I think a lot of people that do Tibetan practice, they just read the Tibetan. I don't. I read the English every time. I say it in English.
Okay.
And the reason is because I understand it in that way and it's super powerful. But they say to do the Tibetan because it confers the blessings. So there is some, you know, like to read it in Tibetan. And I'm lazy and I don't do that enough. But because I just feel like the meaning and I feel like it's that feeling in the heart when you get that juice, you know, from whatever the language is and what you're saying. That's really important. But I think I think you're right. And Steiner talks to it a bit, quite a bit about the power of language and the like certain consonants and things actually like it's like you're like getting a tooth, like when you say R, you're getting a tooth into the and it's, you know, and when you guys talk about that stuff, it's almost like I'm having like a eureka, you know, like I'm listening to you say it and like it's things are coming together for me and I'm like, oh, I see that, you know, but I haven't quite grasped it myself yet.
And if Uranus is a Greek god, greetings, Mehmet. Greetings, I see you're there. I was gonna ask you to come on. Maybe the next one you can come on with us. I would be delighted to have him here too. I just didn't. It slipped out my mind, but I was thinking about you, Mehmet, also for a new dub plate. So, I have all kinds of project for us. We're gonna make music again together. Me and Mehmet. We're gonna get at it, but I'll get in touch with him. But now this is the thing. Uranus is a Greek god. Now you say names. Our names also matter. Like once you start also awakening to this whole thing. You look at your name, you look at the name of stuff, the name that they named the planet, the sun, and the moon, and all this, and each of those 7 wandering stars have a day here. So it's all, but it's in disguise, like jeudi en français, Thursday in English, but then it's linked to Jupiter. Why is Jupiter? Why do we get paid on Thursday and it's the Jupiter day? You know why all these things? Moon day, it's Monday. Tuesday, it's Mars. What is there war up there on Tuesday? Is there war here? Like Mars, they say is a god of war. You just reverse the M, it becomes wars. Like, what is this, Lily? Like,
Yeah.
yeah,
Well,
what's the energy coming from each and every 7 wandering stars? You say you can pray to them, you can ask them for guidance. There you go. Ask them for guidance. That's the word I was looking for. Okay, I got it now. So you can ask them for guidance, but how and which one? And there's so many stars above. How I go? I'm willing to stop on the bike path and take 10 minutes and pray to the god stars, but I don't know who. I don't know what. I don't know freaking nothing.
Well, we can't
That's what I
all be
realized.
experts in every field, right? So there are certain fields of esoteric studies, and you can have a like an art collective of friends that you could get together with that could help, but astrologers know when certain planets are prominent and when it's time to pray to them, and we call them electional charts. And there's a lot of rules
Hold
about
on. We call them what? What?
it's called electional astrology. And so there are certain rules about figuring
That's the
out.
real election.
Yeah, absolutely. And so it's a good times to do certain things. But and then when a certain star is very prominent, we can call to ask to them. So it's not, I don't pray to just a random star. It's like when the star is prominent, like when Venus is conjunct Fomalhaut, maybe,
Okay, explain that. You talk about Venus conjunction, and explain me that, because I'm all lost. I don't know
Okay.
too much in that field, but you talk about conjunction. Like, what does it signify when Venus is there? Is there all planets come and visit the moon and stuff, sit below it and chat with the moon? I don't know, what are they doing up there?
It's the moon that moves very fast.
Oh,
So
God.
the moon is the fastest, and so that's the like of the hologram that we're watching, the moon. So it changes pretty frequently, and it's important to try to keep the sentiment of a goal solid, straight. Keep that straight path as it changes. That's part of the test, right?
What?
So,
The
like, if you
path?
have a thought at the beginning of a moon cycle, right? A new moon intention, it's important to try to hold firm to that as the moon changes and your feelings start to change, because the moon it's going to change all around you, and you're looking at it from all these different angles, and you'll get pushed right off that intention, because all of a sudden, oh, I don't even want that anymore when I see it from this side. But of course you do, like whatever. Anyway, but the moon moves very fast. But when it makes but more like the other planets, they each move at a different speed. And at certain times, they are occupying the same degree of the zodiac, like they're at the same spot. So they're making a conjunction. So their energies are mixed together. Or they're making a different aspect. Yeah, or they're making a different aspect, which are related to sacred geometry, but or numbers. And like, so if it's square, it's a 4, and it's a tension. It's like a square. We're in conflict right now. When two planets are square, it's a 90-degree angle. So I can predict that, like, if the sun is coming to square my Mars, that I might feel aggressive that day, fighting for myself and my identity and my character, something coming up like that, because Mars is fighting and aggression, and the sun is my character and my light and my reputation, So a square means that there's going to be some kind of conflict arising in the external reality related to that. And man, this gets deep, because we can not only, our birth chart dials out. That's a snapshot, but that thing dials out all the way till, for a long time, even past our death, I would think, because, say David Bowie, say, could have a big revival in 2029 and it would have matched his chart. You never know, like something like this, like it's timing forever. And so there are different methods of progressing the chart forward, and we can predict all kinds of things from this in your
Wow.
life. Mm-hmm.
Wow.
So
But
it gets
this,
real deep.
so this knowledge of prediction, also like they predict eclipses and stuff. Come on, this is advanced. How can you deny that it's advanced knowledge? People know that stuff. Humans know that stuff on Earth. You know it. Other astrologers know it, and it's happening. It's not something you can deny. Say, "Oh, it happens in the stars. It's cloudy. I don't see it." No, no. I've seen the eclipse the last time. I've seen it. So
Yeah. Not
now,
only do they know it, they're using it as a weapon against us. So propaganda is big. And so
yeah.
that 2012 window, you saw the whole QAnon rise. You saw them infiltrate the what's it called? Conspirituality is like what they're calling it in religious studies. But there's a certain propaganda movement that like went to the harmonic convergence, like where all the hippies and the people that know this stuff and the UFO kind of people that know things about
Yeah.
consciousness, and the propaganda people got in there and started seeding political information in there and trying to turn people to their, like it. So you talk about magicians, they're using that information, and astrology is where it is. So a lot of people that are really advanced won't share their birth chart publicly because they don't want people doing magic against them, and they could. Like you need to kind of be
Okay,
careful.
hold on. This is very, very big what you're saying there. So that's why probably also they want to know our birth date and our time of birth and all that, and they record all this. They have the record of this. I have what they call the birth certificate. Everything's marked on there. Why I have that? Like why? There's a reason. Maybe they practice black magic on you, like you say.
Absolutely. They're harvesting your energy and your consciousness until I think so, at least.
I
I'm
really
all,
think so. Look, the proof is in the pudding. Look out
right.
there. Look out there. So
Right.
yeah, they are.
But we are all sovereign beings, and so we can take we have the power to take it
That's
back. It's just
that's
consciousness.
where it
But
changes. That's it.
yeah. So there's that.
Once you
Uh,
stop giving them energy, you stop energizing the ritual. So you withdraw, like just like when you stop going to church or stuff, like you realize, whoop, might not be a place for me, or whatever unfractal building you go pray to some singularity god or the one source. I think there's, like we were saying, probably many gods up there, many gods on earth. I don't now how this realm came to creation and all that also really is a very interesting topic. If there's it gets so overwhelming just to be alive, just to be human sometimes, because all this knowledge that I have to learn, all this stuff that I have to navigate through the hate and jealousy and greed of the people of earth, but then I got to be a light being and spread light around the world. So it's very is it the same up there? Like, is that what you feel from up there, that there's as much chaos within the upper realm than there is on earth? Or maybe there's no chaos, maybe the chaos is just in my head, or a reflection? Like, I don't know. Like, I'm lost because I see love. I see love all around. I see nature's beauty. I can perceive the beauty. That's one thing we can do. And I perceive your beauty and the beauty of everyone. But I perceive also the beauty of the stars. So I think this is a game changer once you can perceive that and navigate through the it brings your vibes up for sure. But there's a thing, there's a vibration also attached to those stars. You look at them. First of all, once I start looking at the stars, I was like, wow, you're not serious. They have fooled us all that time with stupid pictures and CGIs and stuff. And when you look at it, they look so alive. They're light beings. So as above, so below again. I'm going to bring it back because there's light beings up there. So there's light beings on earth. Mehmet is one of them too. You are one of them.
Absolutely.
I'm one of them. I
Absolutely.
know in the heart that we have a network in place, and it's beyond our ego and all our nonsense in our head that we're doing this for the whole. That's our mission. We've been sent on earth on a mission. I know it. And I'm trying to get everyone possible on that mission with aligned thoughts. And, once we connect at that point, that's why I'm saying we involve the stars, because it's super soul level. I don't need to talk to you every day to know we are sending thoughts to each other. Like often, that's the other thing. We become very powerful in our intuition once we start noticing things around in the stars and stuff and creating magic in our life, but also telepathy. Like, how do these stars communicate together? They're certainly not talk to each other, so it's a matter of thoughts. And I don't know, Lily, I go
Yeah,
with as above, so
Rudolf
below.
Steiner
That's what we
said
do
that
here.
it was like an
Like
ocean.
often, I'm curious at times, that I think of someone, like a day I'm gonna think about you really, really hardly, like a real focused thoughts on you and sending you positive vibe. I'm gonna tell you, and you tell me at that moment if you were thinking about me. Like, I'm sure this kind of stuff happened all the time. Like, I think of Mehmet very often. Very often, I will think about Mehmet, sending him positive vibe, or other artists that I have on my dub plate session. But I think we have that power exactly on a super soul level to really energize each other. And I think that's what's going on up there. Am I wrong?
No, I think you're absolutely right. But I think in our insular spots that we get attacked by demons, not
Yeah,
just not our
yeah.
daemons, but demons. And
Demon.
that people come against us. And it's also often even, I mean, all of this is within us, but also like, people are suffering. So then they'll project something on you or this or that. So like you're getting attacked. And so it's so important for us to connect together, because then that brings us back to our truth and ourself, right? Because I know I get far out there, and and I'll forget. I'm not as powerful without my friends, and
Oh, me neither. I need you guys for sure.
and I really think, though, that the Pluto moving into Aquarius is going to be really great for people like you, me, a Mehmet, who aren't really in it for the money. Like, we're not in it for ego, for game. Like, this is not why I'm here. I'm
For the
here
whole.
because this is where my friends are, one, and
Yeah.
I miss my friends, and like, it helps to bolster me and helps me to help the people in my community more, because it revitalizes my light
Yeah.
to connect with my people. But that's why we're here, is it's that kind of collective, a heart collective. And so I really think that Mars going retrograde in Cancer is a lot about cleaning up and reforging bonds of kinships. As hard as it is, Mars in retrograde in Cancer is painful. So we're all doing inner work that's hurting and cleaning up and because it hurts to admit where you're wrong. You know what? I was a real doob about that. I got in my head. I judged that wrong. I was wrong. Like, we're all facing a lot of that, cleaning up our family bonds in Mars and Cancer. But I think that it can bring us together, by the end of it. So I'm hopeful that that's the case.
Yeah, talking about bounds, why would some people, like even your family, I talk a lot about my mother here. I don't want to bring her back too much. I have compassion. Like I said, we should power this revolution, this TruMon revolution, by love and compassion. So having compassion also for others is very important. They're on a path just like you. They might be freaking muggles, no magic, but you still have to have compassion, because then it's a reflection of yourself. Whatever negativity you project on others, it's you. It's the reflection of your internal state. So I don't have no intention to project negativity. But what happened to those people what kind of energy get to them to even reject their own children, their own family, for the sake of the system, of protecting the system, uphold evil system that is in place, that capture their soul? So what is going on above that can explain something like this? Because it happened to me. Like, I'm like Jesus walking the earth. I get thrown stone at and shit just because I speak truth. But I have no intention to stop. So how can I navigate this world without also letting the negative energies that are demons trying to get to you and derail your train? Like, how do you just avoid them? But then that's not really compassion. Like, should I get back in touch and just try to? But then it's negative energy. I will associate myself with negative energy. I will feel like a kid again. Blah blah blah. The whole thing. So how do I deal with this? Is there something above that can guide me how to deal with that kind of emotion?
I'd have to go just straight for the Dalai Lama on that one.
Go.
And it's so sad, like that's such a story. A lot of us have been there about speaking truth. Like I lost so many friends. People think that I'm
Everyone.
so weird. Like they think that
Oh yeah.
like not weird. They think I'm violent with my words and violent with my ideas because I would not back down on a lot of things that,
No way.
and what it is, it's evil people, because they want to climb to the top of the ziggurat and dominate that, and they want to just reify the earth and lord over it, and then figure out how they can come back and just be on top. They're trying to bypass the full thing. And then even scarier, transhumanism, they want to do that to a lot of us. They want to reify our consciousness here in robots and stuff underneath them. And so this is like the problem of evil is extensive, right?
Yeah.
So there are legitimately people coming after you that do not want you to gain power, because the more power you gain, the more your light spreads and you bring other people along. And it's like a love revolution. Although I am not about revolution in this moment. I just have to say that full on. No revolutions, guys. It just hurts people. People get hurt. It's an inside job. All of this is an inside job. I'm like terrified that I live in near the Portland area. So I'm like terrified there's going to be a lot of protests and revolutionary things coming. So I just keep speaking to that. Yeah. But I think that the answer of how to work with a family member that has fallen out because of some of these things is that it's just it's sending them light, taking and sending. So the Dalai Lama is a reincarnated Buddha of Vajrasattva, and this is how we purify the lights. And we all need to do this in order to get what we see show up, ray out forward and clean. Like we need to do this for ourselves too, but that's a whole different story. But just very simply for someone that is you start with somebody you like, and then you do someone who's neutral, and then someone you don't like, so you warm up to this idea of taking and sending. But basically you suck in, when you breathe in, you suck in all of this hot heat, smoke, ash, dirty, like scum, sludge. You suck it all in off of them. You take it because you can transmute it. You're powerful. So you suck it in and you push it down deep, 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 deep into the earth where Yama is. And he loves that stuff. He will eat it and he will transform it. So you're not stuck with it. So
that's Jesus doing miracle.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
Then you blow out cool, clean, clear, sparkly sunshine. Like, I just imagine like white, iridescent, like rainbowish kind of light. And you blow that out to them. And you just work that process, and it will work. It will transmute. I remember one time, it wasn't this process, but there was one time my son's father and I were in a real rut. Like we were really fighting. Like we hadn't talked for a year. And I started doing Guru Rinpoche prayers one day, cleaning this cabin. And Elijah's father is a traveling musician. And so he's always in hotel rooms. And so I started imagining that I was making up this room for him. And I was doing taking and sending, and I was saying the Guru Rinpoche prayer over and over that whole day, singing it, And I closed the door on cleaning that house, and my phone rang, and it was him. And he said, "Lily, I'm in town. I want to see Elijah. I want to talk to you guys. I don't want to sign that paperwork the lawyer sent me." And that changed. I mean, it was like it turned our family situation around. So it works, those things work. It takes time, but mostly it takes belief.
But is it also a matter of being in tune with yourself, in tune, in tune? You said it's an inside job. Yeah, it's an inside job, as within, so without. Wasn't there an inside job done, we call in this world? I'm not t- naming any event that they evilly freaking plan in this world, but you know what I'm talking about. So, yeah, definitely. I think it's
Well, I
really.
think, yeah, it is an inside job because everything's arising perfectly in order to get us to twist and turn to get to enlightenment. So if it's arising crooked, that's because we're crooked and we need to be corrected.
Yeah.
So yeah, so it's a real mind cluster mind fuck, to think, wow,
Oh,
I
yeah, yeah.
met, like, and it's that's just so out there, right? But nonetheless, yes, I do think it's an inside job, and and we can change these things, and ultimately, but Buddhahood happens spontaneously. It can happen just like that, and also the worst student can become the best student in the matter of a day.
Yeah, that's
Like
the
you could be
thing.
the worst
Yeah,
student. You could be out, and I'm not trying to like make a classification that would be the worst student, but what if you were like on meth, went to steal stuff from a kid, you stole their shoes and their bike, and like, I don't know, I'm just trying
that's
to
it.
think of mean things, right?
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
that was you. But like the next day you were like maybe still had some troubles, but you were like, I'm going to do better. I'm going to draw the sunshine into my heart. I'm
Yeah.
going to believe, and then suddenly you're becoming the best student, just like that, So,
That's
yeah,
why also learning is probably the learning that kind of stuff, and learning to be in tune with probably the best cure for addiction that we have here on earth. You can turn your life around like you don't need a pill, you don't need nothing to stop anything. I don't buy that. You have the power within yourself to say no. It's just you don't have enough. Like people that drink and smoke and stuff, nothing, nobody puts that in your head other than you, and your hand and your mouth and stuff. So you have the power from one day to another to say no.
I agree,
But
but I also
will
think
you?
we have
That's the thing.
psychology, and we have like we truly have like serotonin and these things that really get the better of us. And I think it's also difficult whenever you're in an addictive stance and you're trying to get better, and then you're doing all this positive work, but bad things keep happening to you.
Yeah,
And you're like, "Wait, but I'm trying so hard." But it's because that karma arises, it's not perfectly aligned, right? Like you're gonna have to like go through that bad karma that you've created for the past whatever years arising for a while until it
you
starts to clean out.
you
So
reap
i
what you
i, I
sow.
really I really empathize with people who are addicted to different substances. I think it's really, I think it's a genuine challenge, and it's on karma and suffering. But we have to realize that it's up to us. And
Oh yeah,
regardless of the karma and suffering, you're never getting out of the pit unless you just Bane or Batman it out of the pit. You got to get out of the pit, whatever it takes.
so also I was referring to names, and just before we leave this talk for today, and it's been an hour and a half almost. But Lily Rose Walker, to me, you are the real Luke Skywalker. Okay, it's in your name. It's in your name. You are the Luke Skywalker of these days. And when you look at my name, it's Allione. There's the word water in there. Lo. So you see the significance, Aquarius, pourer of knowledge. That's why I'm very comfortable doing this here. It's been given to me. And I know I have to do it because I look at stuff, at signs also, at the stars, at telling me I'm on the right path, and just my name says it. So I'm very, very they look at, and I don't think it's random that you embody the certain place on earth where you come when your soul come to reincarnate, or if that happens, I starting to think so. It's far-fetched reincarnation because it's so esoteric, because it's like it's beyond the realm of human comprehension. Also, there's certain things on earth we will just never understand, and I think that's pretty part of it. We can just imagine that yes, it could be possible. It makes sense. Now, the place where you come on earth and all this, I think it has real significance. The name given to you now, the soul apparently gets embodied into to the egg, when the sperm gets to the egg, there's a light happening, apparently. Like, I want to bring you into all these topics. Tarot also, each and every card has a significance. All this, we're going to today was maybe more an intro than anything else, but it's a very good intro. It's been an hour and 20 minutes intro, so it's pretty good. But I think we should keep going maybe next Sunday. It's beautiful sun out there. Look, my face is
I
in the
could see
sun too,
that.
so
Yeah.
great. The sun showed up at the perfect moment when Lily Skywalker is on the TruMon show. So that's great. I'm very grateful for all the knowledge you've been giving us. You've been enlightening me a lot about, especially the prayer and the stuff that we can synchronize with the stars, and that's possible. If you think it's not possible, just open up your heart a bit more. Let the love flow. Let the fear go. Connect with the earth. Connect with people. There's wonderful people on this earth. Me, I'm blown away at the blessing and the stuff that can happen to a human here if you align your frequency with the proper one, like the divine frequency. And there's all kinds of good stuff that will happen in your life. And great people like Lily showing up here is for me a real blessing. I don't know if the word blessing is the right word. Be less, but anyway, I know that I'm less than Iron Divine. I have work to do, so I have no problem with being less than Iron Divine. I know I have it within me, but I have work to do. So maybe one day I'll say be more when I'm more, but for sure now it's a blessing. And yeah, I'm truly, my heart is filled with joy and gratitude. And there's just to be here and given the responsibility to the divine responsibility to speak to the world, but I'll do it with serenity and kindness. Definitely, I'm not here to for any other thing than that. And I think we're so far in our realm of negativity sometimes that just a bit of positivity and something that can make us more intuitive is, I think, the stars and astrology and tarot and all this. So we will keep diving deep, Lily, if you don't mind. I'll have you again. Maybe Mehmet can join us also. He has extensive knowledge on astrology. I'm sure he makes things happen, Mehmet. He synchronizes stuff with the stars. Of course, you don't go out and post it on Facebook all the time that you're a star magician and all that, because people will think you're freaking weird. And then it's just not the way to go. Also, it's just not the way to go. Like you said, it's an internal work. So, but I'm telling you, I will be on the bike path praying to the stars. Definitely, I'll take off my shoes, ground myself on the ground, and hug a tree and pray to the stars. Because other than that, honestly, I don't. Yeah, there's great people that will help you on your journey on Earth, but I think there's definitely a divine force helping us, joining together also, and elevating this humanity, this earth to a whole new level, a level of love and compassion, and really love at the center of this evolution. It's not a revolution. It, like you said, it's an evolution. Like we
Mm.
have taken up the heart. Like the heart causes war and conflicts and stuff and confrontation. So it's an evolution. So an evolution happens within. So once we all focus on what's within, we will all evolve, and evolve. There's the word love in there. So
Mm.
anyway, I could keep on all winter long on good stuff, good vibes. But that's what I'm about. I'm about good vibes. So large up, Lily, for your full presence and power here today, and you're really shining bright, and you're one of the most beautiful women I ever seen in my life. And honestly, it's the beauty from within that shines. But you're beautiful on the outside. I always told you, but you're so beautiful on the inside, and it shines so much, and I can feel it from so far. I have to stop. I'll get emotional here. You see,
I
now
know
I'm
I'm
getting
getting
emotional.
emotional. Thank you
Yeah,
so
but
much.
it fills my heart with. No, I'm getting too emotional.
Thanks for
That's
having
me.
me, John.
I'm a big, I look like a bear, but I'm a big teddy bear inside, and I'm so sweet and so soft and so so lovey. I'm supposed to be. So take it as TruMon. So Lily, large up, and we'll see each other again. Just stay a bit after, and I'll give you 2, 3 words
Okay.
of
Thanks again so for everyone being here and for listening. Thanks to listen to me talk about my favorite topics. Yeah, I really appreciate it. And I just lots of love to everyone. Thanks again for having me.
It's all love. We're up. See ya.